Hey everybody, this is Joe from Cincinnati here, and I got Daye Kaniel, Dan, or Action Johnny with me. And he's not looking at the camera right now, but he will in a second.
Good there, viewers at home. God, I was just minding my own business here, and I didn't even see you there.
It's like the corniest motherfucker ever.
I know.
So I got both of our cameras on here. I normally don't do cameras because then that requires that I like put a shirt on and shit. But
Dress up in your Sunday best, AJ.
but it's become the norm that these videos have people on them.
Yeah, right.
So I figured I may as well just do that. So
Pretty cool, you know. It adds a little personal touch to it, doesn't it? Personal touch.
and the reason I got Dan here is because he has a new channel as well. It's called Daye Kaniel. It's not.
I didn't realize that you could. Well, I don't actually think you can change the name once you've like tied it to your Google account.
Well, it's really awkward because you tie it to your Google account, and then that's what your email is called, and it's also what your channel is called. So like my email, like when I started this channel, I just linked it to the email that I use every day.
Yeah.
And then like I changed it to Joe from Cincinnati to match my YouTube channel. But now all my emails say Joe from Cincinnati, which like, it's not a professional email, so it's not a big problem, but like when I'm communicating with just like my leasing agent or a real estate agent or something like that and they get an email from Joe from Cincinnati, it's fucking weird. I really wish that I could like split it off somehow. So
Right. Okay. I was going to ask about that. So what we can definitely confirm from this small conversation is that there's no way to change your YouTube channel name once you've linked it to a Google account.
you can change it, but then that's what your email address is. That's what your email is defined as. So it's weird. It's really weird, and I don't like it, but I just have to deal with it, I guess. So anyway, the reason that we're here today, other than to promote Dan's channel, which I'll link in the description, is because I finally am playing a new deck. Like basically all my games have been Crab Unicorn with varying degrees of things, and now I'm actually playing a new deck because, I went 6-1 in season 2 of the Discord League and lost in the top 64. Then I went 7-0 in the season 3 Discord League and I lost in the top 32, and it's just not working in the current meta. There's just too many Scorpions out there. There's too many Fate Worse Than Deaths that building towers, which is what Crab Unicorn does, is just very dangerous. So what I've been testing with is Crab / Scorpion, which is funny because Fate Worse Than Death is like the problem in the meta, and now I'm running it. So
It's part of the problem.
I'm now a part of the problem. I'm officially part of the problem. But I just wanted to test it, see if it worked out of Crab, and I've gotten some pretty nice results.
Do you think our commentating duo name should be called The Problem and the Solution?
Are you the solution now, Dan?
I'm the solution in this instance, yes.
Okay, well, it's good to know. So I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to run this deck in the Season 4 Discord League, which I've officially made it into. And I know that, Dan, you went 7-0, so you're now officially in as well.
Sure did, bro. No. I mean, all sort of faux gloating aside, yeah, I got 7-0. I had a slightly easier, well, not to sound condescending, whatever. I feel like my group was slightly easier than the last two, just because I think there were some newer players and some unknowns, some people that hadn't been in the Discord tournament before. I started a couple of really tight games, so it wasn't like a cakewalk or anything. But yeah, it wasn't like for season 2. I just had a group of death. Awesome. And season 3 as well. My group was weirdly tough. But yeah.
And it didn't help that you were playing on a public library computer, so you getting kicked off in the middle of games.
I was so angry. I had to go for a walk after that. So I'd essentially lost the game because of that.
Yeah.
Fact, it was against a dude that was like 1-5. And I was like, fuck's sake!
So, anyway, what we got here is a game versus Kiramode, who, if you're keeping up with the Discord League, he's like a 1900 level Lion player. This season he chose to play Phoenix, but he's still a very good player, and I thought that it would be a good example of how the deck runs and what it does well. So here we go. Play. It's gonna play.
Any second now, we'll play. Oh,
Really? Is it? Is it not gonna play right now?
me? No. We're playing for you?
No, it's not.
Oh, what if I do this? What if I do this? Does it play then?
No.
Oh.
God, I thought we fucking solved this shit. All right.
Just
All right.
refresh the page. I mean, I'll see what happens. Sorry for the slight technical issue, viewers at home. It will be solved momentarily.
I'm actually getting a good amount of lag right now, so hopefully that doesn't persist. That wouldn't be great.
Would not be good. That would actively be annoying.
It would
Somebody
be.
would say bad.
Okay. Really?
You really gonna do this to me now?
You're gonna do this to me right now? Okay. Shit.
This is kind of what the joy of post-production editing is for.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut all this out. Obviously, if I might just we might just stop and then I'll reset and then
But no, it's fine. Just leave it running, and then we can just do a. When you're ready, we'll just do a 3, 2, 1, and we're back.
All right, here we go.
Oh shit! There we go. Right. Now it's working. If you want a 3, 2, 1 is in.
Yeah. So, 3, 2, 1, and we're back. Minor technical difficulties, but we got it running right now, right?
We got it purring like a kitten, baby.
It's actually moving for you.
It's moving.
All right, excellent.
Hey, Four Dreams joins the recorded game as a spectator.
Who?
I like in the chat log there. Four Dream.
Oh.
Yeah,
he's from my league pod, so he was spying on two of his feature competitors. So I got a keeper monk, an iron mine, a crisis breaker, and a Kaio envoy, which is ideal, and then a charge, a meek informant, court games, and an assassination, which is also ideal. So I play the Kaio envoy first, obviously. You always want to bluff the way the crowd when you can, and he plays a naive student. And since I have this charge, I just pass. I'm good like that. I got 7 fate, and he plays a radiant order with 2 fate. So right now, my plan is just bid 5 to get a fate worse than death, and I did. So at this point, I don't know what his splash is, but he's playing Phoenix, so I figure it's either Scorpion, maybe Lion,
Probably Dragon.
Yeah,
right?
maybe Dragon. So, but I do know that a lot of Phoenix players run Censure, so the first turn is really the best time to get a Fate Worse Than Death off. And luckily, he's given me the perfect target for it, right? A 2 Fate guy that I want to get rid of, who is the only person who can participate in a military conflict.
I know it's really funny. You could actually win favor this turn without doing a single conflict if you wanted to.
How do you figure?
So he does his first conflict, you assassinate the naive student, then you have fate worse than death, the orator in the next conflict, and you basically don't do anything and leave your envoy standing.
Yeah, that's true. I could do that.
I mean, I'm not saying that's a good line of play.
So I want to get my keeper monk, so I just do a military earth conflict at one that doesn't matter, and he defend. It's a shameful display, which is annoying but not a huge deal to me. It's that character, the Radiant Order is about to go bye-bye anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
He's about to get...
So he uses it to honor his guy and dishonor my guy. And then I'm trying to...
He's about to get sent to the naughty corner full of hornets and worms and that, like scorpions. There you go.
Yeah. So I have a meek informant. I was holding the cursor over it, thinking like, should I play the meek informant first? But I guess I just didn't care what he had in his hand. I'm just gonna send this guy home. So I fate worse than death this guy, which dishonored him back to normal status. He's blank. He loses the fate. He's home and he's bowed. And he says, he says,
That's such an apt way of describing that card. It's the face of a club. It's so demoralizing.
it really is. So then I charge in my Crisis Breaker. Because I have all this fate just to play around with. And I have this Iron Mine, so the Crisis Breaker will last through this round as long as I don't lose that Iron Mine. So things are going my way. You know, I got 3 on his stronghold. I got 3 strength. I'm breaking currently. And he has no one in the conflict.
I hope you assassinate now.
I could do that. It depends. You know, I want to see what he does before I assassinate, because if I assassinate now, then he plays a conflict character into the conflict, and then I don't break. I would be pretty upset about that.
Yeah, of course.
So this is a trend during the game, and the reason it's an hour and a half is that Cure Mode. He's a pretty thoughtful guy. He takes his time with his decisions, and you can tell he's very very, what do you want to call it? Slow to make mistakes and slow to do things. So I discard the card, and it's Sukune, which is nice. I broke the Shameful Display, and I got a Keeper Monk. So things are going my way right now.
Certainly are, Joe. So, do you think if we could see Kira Mode in the flesh, that he'd look a little bit like the chap on the Naive Student artwork? Just, you know, calm, thoroughly in face, contemplating over his decisions.
I know.
Agonizing over them, you could even say.
So I played a Meek Informant to look at his hand, which I should have done before I Fate Worse than Deathed him, but I just didn't want a lot of problems to go through. So he has a charge. So he technically could have charged one of his characters in. He has Assassination, a Censure, which is not active right now, a Shrine Maiden, a Meek Informant, another Assassination, and Know the World, and another Meek Informant. So he had answers for days. He just chose not to put them into the conflict.
It's very weird that he chose to not to do anything. I think I probably would have. I would have at least charged, you know.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure why he ended up choosing not to do anything. Maybe he wanted to conserve his fate for his own attacks and for his own strategies and things like that. So here we go. I'll just restart the stream now. So I broke a province, I got the Earth Ring, I got a Keeper Monk out, I drew an Ornate Fan, and he discarded Know the World, which isn't relevant right now, but it gets more and more relevant as the game goes on. And that's another reason why I thought it was a little odd that he didn't charge, because he could have charged in a Sugenja like Kaide, and then, you know, maybe prevented the break or even won, and then against the waves to stand her up again for an attack. So it was very interesting to me that he chose not to.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Interesting, yes. That is a word.
I mean, that seems to be like the kind of thing where you'd just be like a misclick, you know?
Maybe. You know, like I said, he took a while to think about it, so you know that it was on his mind. Something was on his mind. Whether it was to play a conflict character in the conflict or whether it was to charge in somebody. He definitely had something that he wanted to do, but for some reason he held back.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, it's weird, really, isn't it? Because I'm loath to see Shameful Display break turn 1. And that's actually happened in two of my last 2 games, 2 out of 2. First turn Shameful break, they've just gone in for an unopposed second conflict, and they've found Shameful. It's been with a 3 strength guy, and they've broken it. And it's just like, I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, really?
I know.
You know, it's just like, god damn it, man.
So, yeah. So he's ready to. He chose to pass his conflict.
We do see he's running Scorpion Splash there, though, don't we?
Yeah, we know that he's running Scorpion Splash because we saw the Meek Informants. So now my thought is, you know, I can now void this orator right off the table, right? So I do a political void. and I know exactly what he has in his hand. So I know he has an assassination. I know he has some meek informants and some shrine maidens to try and like dig through his deck a little bit. So he defends with that character, and I just immediately assassinate it. Now, I guess I could have started playing like fans and court games and things like that just to give myself an opportunity to let him see what he wanted to do. And then he assassinates my Keeper Monk, which I save with the Iron Mine. Because right now I'm threatening to break. Because I can put 3 strength on this, and then I can court games to go up to 5. And the only things in his hand are 1 strength political guys. So if I honor this guy, I can basically guarantee the break. So he's once again thinking, and he plays Shrine Maiden. Now, he doesn't play it in the conflict. And then, so Shrine Maiden's an interesting card. You see here, he used it to add against the waves to his hand, but then he had to discard a charge and a Fate Worse Than Death. So he's running Fate Worse Than Death, obviously, but Fate is just such a brutal card to lose, because you only get 2 or maybe 3 of them. I don't know exactly what he's running. But, you know, chances are he's running 2 because he wants to run other things out of the Scorpion Splash. So losing one of them is just awful, because it's just such a powerful card. So I honor my Keeper Monk to go up to 5 strength, which is breaking his card now. Or is it breaking his province now?
Jesus, this is a pretty brutal first turn. You have spaffed out your hand, but I mean, 2 breaks for 4 or 5 cards seems like a price I'd be willing to pay.
Yeah, it was difficult because I was spending cards at an alarming rate, and he has 8 cards left in his hand now. But I'm getting 1 back from the Kaio Envoy leaving. You know,
boards, you know, get rid of Kaida.
Yeah, get rid of Kaide, clears board. You know, I got rid of Sukune as well, so you know, it's looking pretty good for me, at least artificially right now. And then he uses his Stronghold to up his character's glory to 2. And then he passes his conflict. So he's obviously gearing towards getting the favor, which makes sense because he has a Censure in his hand. And that's the thing about Phoenix that's really irritating, is that they can just...
Get favor.
Well, he didn't get favor now because it's just tied 2-2, so no one gets the favor, but he prevented me from getting the favor. And then when the Kaio Envoy leaves, I get my second A Fate Worse Than Death. So that's also nice.
Oh, beautiful. And no Censure you have to worry about for the second turn.
Yeah, no Censure for the second turn. So I flip here, Karada District, a Steadfast Witch Hunter, a Kaio Envoy, and a Heated Guardian. He plays that girl that, you know, does all that stuff, and then passes. So my bid is 2 because I'm in honor trouble, and obviously he bids 1. So now I'm down to 5 honor to his 7 honor. I think is that what it is? Yeah, I'm at 5 honor now. So, you know, I had a really big first turn, but I did kind of spend a lot of honor on a lot of cards to do it. But my board is superior. You know, he has a lot of fate left. So my thinking is that he probably drew his second A Fate Worse Than Death at some point in the last couple cards that I didn't see from the Meek Informant. So he is going to declare his first conflict of the round, and it's a water conflict. A political water conflict. So I can just defend with my 5 strength Keeper Initiate. Now, I don't want to overcommit because he's running in to defend the wall, but defend the wall on a water challenge doesn't mean anything right now. So as long as I can prevent the, like, as long as winning doesn't actually get me anything because the ring is meaningless, which is sad, but it's how it goes sometimes. And then he plays his second assassination. Now, at this point, I have these 2 calling in favors, and I will say, since this game, I've slightly changed my deck list to having only one calling in favors, and then I added an unassuming Yojimbo. Because if this second calling in favors were an unassuming Yojimbo, then I have a conflict character that I can play into the game at will that has covert. Whereas with this, especially in a Phoenix Scorpion matchup, there really aren't any attachments that I care all that much about. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my video stopped syncing with yours, Joe. So I don't know where I am.
Oh.
Well,
Where are you right now?
It's not working now, actually. 13:59.
Yeah. Does it work now?
14. Yeah, okay. It's playing now. Sorry.
Yeah, I just paused it. So.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool. Right. Yeah. Go ahead, mate.
Okay, so he's winning but not breaking, so I pass, and I lose another honor, which is not great. And he chooses to bow that guy. So on the surface, I'm kind of bummed, but I'm not really too upset about it because I got him to spend 3 more honor to win a pretty meaningless conflict overall. Because the breaker, he can always come into a conflict using his ability if he has to. And the crisis breaker.
Yeah. And he didn't break anything either.
Yeah, he didn't break anything. So, he has a couple conflict characters in hand, I know that. But other than that, there's not much to worry about. And I could have a Fate Worse Than Death that character home, which would have been interesting, but ultimately, I felt like it wasn't worth the investment.
Are we just at the point now where interesting is synonymous with bad?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Did I say interesting? What did I call interesting?
So, yeah, I wouldn't have used the Fate Worse Than Death number 2 on that mediator.
Yeah.
Not really a super threatening target.
So I'm declaring 1 conflict here because of the mediator. I don't want him to steal an honor from me. And then he uses charge to charge in the Master of Gishe Toshi. And again, I come into this situation where it's like, he doesn't have a fate on him. Is it really worth Fate Worse Than Deathing this guy? And it's a decision I have to make because it becomes not really a character removal at that point. So I just play a watch commander on my character so that anything he does, he starts losing honor. Maybe I should have added it later or before the conflict. And then he policy debates me. So that sucks. Because I know he's going to see my hand, he's going to see that Fate Worse Than Death, and he's going to remove it immediately.
Yeah. Definitely wouldn't let you hang on to that.
And he does. So that's my second Fate Worse Than Death, which is the only things that I do have. I only have 2 of them now in my deck. I've considered running 3, and he says that card is too degenerate.
Stupid card.
Which is funny because he's fucking running it. But anyway. So I'm currently winning, but not breaking. So I think I just passed. Yeah, I passed the conflict, so I'm winning but not breaking. I'm going to get 2 honor back, or maybe steal an honor, which would be good too.
Basically, yeah, you're like about 30-45 seconds ahead of me on a video stream. Like, I'm still at the point where you're just getting policy debated.
Ah, shit. Okay.
Oh no, and then it's brought me back up to the present. This is annoying.
This is not great. Hold on.
Yeah, so when you pause it, it brings me back up to the present. Yeah. And then when you play, I just sort of like get stuck. So I'm like 45 seconds behind what's actually going on. Sometimes even a minute. And that's no basis for a good commentation.
No, that's not good. Very, very odd. All right, so you're at 1845 right now?
Yes.
Oh, can you see this when I pull up the settings?
No.
Okay. Can you click on that little thing, the little gearbox, the gear down there?
The HD?
Yeah, the HD gearbox.
Yeah.
What is it set on for speed?
Normal.
Okay, set it to 1.5.
All right. Okay. There we go. Yeah.
Okay. Now you should be able to keep up with me. I set it to 1.5. I figured that would go through the synchronization. I guess not. That's fucking weird.
No.
This is
All right.
complicated. Okay. So you're at 1849, 50, 51, 52.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm up to speed now.
All right, perfect. So I
Perfect.
pass. He's now losing, but I'm not breaking, unfortunately. I would have loved to break, but I can't. And this is an exact situation why I took out one calling the favors for the Jimbo, is because right now I have 5 fate and basically nothing to spend it on until the next round. So if I had that unassuming a Jimbo, I could have, played it out and maybe broken, or maybe even just had more characters for conflicts and for, whatever. Get an unopposed maybe, you know? So I really do think that conflict characters are insanely good in this game right now.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't even think I call a fate worse than Death Broken. I just think it feels that way because there's not enough answers to it at the minute. I think that card is going to have like quite an interesting lifespan in this game. I think it'll go through like phases of being amazing, and it'll go through phases of being completely unplayable. Like when enough counters to it exist,
Yeah,
like no one's going to play that card.
yeah,
Like it's just going to be too much of a risk. It's just at this minute, it's kind of having its way with the field, you know.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, conflict characters are super duper powerful at the minute because being able to pass early in Dynasty and have a good conflict character you can play from your hand is a super legit strategy.
yeah. So he plays the Shrine Maiden, gets a display of power, and the discards a Force Shame and a Bonsai.
Yeah, very
And then
nice.
he gives the Shrine Maiden to Glory again. This is so he's just lobbying for the favor yet again. He's going to pass his conflict in order to get the favor, which it's annoying because they gave conflict characters 0 glory for the most part because they didn't want this. You know what I mean, Dan?
You gotta wonder about some of their design choices, eh?
Yeah. Sometimes it's interesting. They go through all these hoops to build in things that they don't want to happen, and then they make other designs that completely, you know, eradicate that whole thing from mattering. So, I draw an I Can Swim, which is great because I can bid like 2. I know he's going to be bidding 1, so I can bid 2, turn on the I Can Swim, and then
Yeah.
maybe, cause some problems for him. I have 2 calling in favor, so I just ditch Karate District. I don't really need it right now, and I'm going to have a bunch of fate, and I want things to spend it on.
Yep.
So I buy the Steadfast Witch Hunter with 2. And then Vanguard Warriors are going to keep this Heated Guardian with a Watch Commander on around for a little bit longer, which is going to be fantastic because he's at 2 honor.
The boy right there, the one guardian to rule them all.
And then I pass to gain the fate, so I have 6 fate going in. Maybe too much again, and I bid 2 to activate the I Can Swim.
I think I wouldn't have aggressively passed there. I think playing second Vanguard's probably the right call.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I probably could have. I could have done that better.
Yeah. Well, horses for courses, eh?
Yeah,
That way, it's an extra dynasty slot free next phase. But hey, ho.
yeah,
This is why we play games back and agonize over tiny choices.
yeah. So yet again, I'm looking at this calling in favors in my hand and wishing it was an unassuming Yojimbo, because then I have something to do with this 6 fate that I have in my pool right now. So he uses against. This is the one bad part about the Steadfast Witch Hunter, is that against Phoenix he just gets bowed.
Yeah.
It's fucking irritating.
Against the waves now you've seen there, so it's not over yet, eh?
No, it's not, but it's still irritating because I don't really have a good target to sacrifice to stand him.
Now I know what you mean. Sacrificing a Vanguard warrior to sand always just feels so rough, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I know he has a Sentry in his hand, So I'm going to do a fire conflict to possibly get one of his characters into I can swim range so that I can take care of him. And I knew that I had a feeling that the final province.
Well, the take care part of that sentence, yeah.
I'm sorry.
You air quoting the take care part of that sentence, yeah. I'm gonna do a fire conflict so I can maybe take care.
Exactly. So I run into, let's see, Meditations in the Tao. So I knew that he had a fire province left, so I knew that I could pretty safely run into it with two guys that don't have fate on them. So that was good. Now, at this point, I don't know if I remembered that he had a censure in his hand from the first turn, or not. I don't really recall. The good news is the fire ring had 2 fate on it, so it looks relatively inconspicuous, you know?
It does, and then what you rebuild to try and tease out the censure there. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
So that's a good play.
I play the rebuild to try and bait out the censure. And look, I'm looking at his discard pile, I'm like, drop the censure.
Literally just rubbing your thighs, the anticipation of playing that.
But he let it through. So
play.
Yeah, it was a good play on his part. He suspected things were afoot. He's like, why is he doing it now? So it's a shame. And then again, I'm looking at these calling in favors, thinking like, fuck these cards, man. These should not be calling in favors right now.
Happens.
Yeah.
And you just get loads of one kind of card, and you're like, oh, this is so irrelevant right now.
So, let's see here. What is he doing? What's going on here? And I think I even like... I'm sorry?
I was going to say that rebuilding the Iron Mine there to buff up the Heated Guardian's ability, I think that's a really good play. Like I did stealth in a game, and I went up to like something like 3 holdings on the back, and he was handing out 6/6 buffs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He gets pretty. He's good with 1 holding. He's great with 2, and then he's just downright bonkers with 3.
It is pretty crazy, just how impactful that character is. So, oh sorry, what am I saying? I forget what I'm saying. It's pretty crazy how good he can be in certain scenarios, especially when combined with rebuild.
That's it. Oh, now look at that. You've got a very swimmable target and a censure in hand with a favor to deal with.
Yeah. And now I have this tough decision to make. And I just decide to stand the Heated Guardian by sacrificing the Vanguard Warrior. And this is what you were talking about. I should have bought that second Vanguard Warrior, because now, you know, I still have the Iron Mine, so the Heated Guardian still has a pretty good chance of sticking around, but now I have to protect that Iron Mine really well to make sure that he stays around. So, you know, shit. Why did I do that? Why did I pass so early? But anyway, Vanguard Warrior sacrificed to stand the Heated Guardian because he has 3 honor left. So any cards that he plays into the conflict that the Guardian's defending are negative honor for him.
Sure, and he has to now go either or void in order to have any fate.
Yeah.
Conflict phase. And you know, them I love it when my opponent attacks Earth. I mean, it's like, great, I'm probably going to get a free fate and some keeper bugs here.
Yeah.
Unless it's woefully overcommitted.
Mm-hmm.
So you're up 3 provinces by this point, so you can't be feeling too bad.
Yeah, I'm up 3 provinces. My board state is not fantastic, but it's serviceable. He's got some good characters on his side of the board. The Master of Gishe Toshi is an interesting card. How do you feel about that card?
Well, I think it's good. It's great. I think it's one of those cards that's going to get probably insane after that Phoenix pack comes out.
Yeah.
Like when you run a conflict deck that's just basically spells, you know, you've got your Shrine Maidens doing work, just digging out whatever cards you want.
Mm-hmm.
Master of Gishe, whatever. What is it? Master of Gishe Toshi.
Yeah, Master Gishe Toshi. Gisei Toshi.
Gisei Toshi, right? Once you've got your Gisei Toshi masters, just locking people out of being able to do anything in conflicts, and yeah, sweet. I think they're kind of like building Phoenix up to be this natural counter to Scorpion. Just some of the designs on the cards that I've seen. Some of the ones we know that are coming have been spoiled by various sources from the Phoenix pack.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they're adding in cards to Phoenix to sort of cock block the event-only Scorpion conflict deck decks.
Yeah, and now, so we'll get back to that in a second. But here, I played a court games again, trying to bait that censure out of his hand because I really want to kill.
He's not going to do that. What kind of Muppet cancels a court game?
Well, he's at 3 honor, The mediator will be leaving play at the end of the round. I figured that it would be a good idea for him to,
See what you're saying.
not do that shit. But
dump the dishonor pressure on him.
Yeah, but I have this.
Court games, he's going to lose an honor anyway, though. So
yeah. So I had it's a tough road because I have 5 honor left. If I had a little bit more honor, I could assassinate it, and then that might be able to bait the censure, and then I can swim the character for the dagger. You know what I mean?
TW for the win.
Yeah. So it was a situation where I was trying to get that stupid censure out of his hand, and he would not bite on any of the baits that I was giving him. So he's at 5 to my 2. He's not breaking, and I fucking just do the icon swim?
Just do it.
Yeah, I just did the icon swim. This way he has to play his censure, and that means that he has to trigger the watch commander at least once. So now he's down to 2 honor. And he says sneaky.
Yeah.
So he's not breaking, but he is winning. He's going to get a Keeper Monk out of this, and he's going to stand the Master at Gishe Toshi, which is sad.
That's bad times for you, mate.
Yeah.
Where did your Vanguard Warrior go?
I sacrificed it to stand the Heated Guardian.
Stand the Heated Guardian?
Yeah, because of the Watch Commander.
Okay, that makes sense.
If I had bought the 2 Vanguard Warriors, then it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Oh man, yeah, he's going to get a break now, and he's going to unfortunately probably go that airing and top his honor back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
It's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah. I can see why you played the I Can Swim there. It might have been worth, holding on to that though, maybe, and just winning favor with the Palace and then using it next turn. I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's tough.
It's such a powerful thing in this game.
I know. So he wins. He stands his master, and then he gets the Keeper Initiate. So that's unfortunate. But I have not lost. I feel bad right now, but I have not lost a single province. I'm sitting at 5 honor, so I'm not really in danger yet. And he only has 2 cards over me. So it's not even an issue of, it's not a huge issue that he's going to break this Iron Mine.
No, at some point you've got to. It sucks that you're going to lose your Guardian, but and he's going to lose one of his as well.
Yeah.
Just hit meditation.
So I have no defenders to block with. If I had a Vanguard Warrior, I would, but alas, I do not.
Yeah, because I went through a period of hard passing after watching some of your early YouTube videos, and I went through. But that was after a period of never getting the first pass because I was bad. I just think you just have to it's always the kind of temptation to deny someone that extra fate from Dynasty, but I think you always just have to play, what you can see in your hands and on your flips at the time.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a hand that costs you fate, then but you do have good cards on your Dynasty. There's no real incentive to get that first pass,
Yeah.
But I don't know. We could theorize about this for days.
We really
romancing over the idea of a hard pass.
I know. But now I got the favor because of my Imperial Palace. Uh,
Weird he didn't go back to that one. I guess he had no bonsai or anything like that.
yeah. Oh, he did break, so he already broke it. And I sacrificed the palace because I have all this fate. I need to get characters onto the board. I should have bought that Vanguard Warrior. It was a
Oh, and he puts Kanjo District just in time for it to be absolutely useless.
on a broken province even. So that was a
Yeah.
nice
So he does
little
lose,
consolation.
yeah, that was pretty cool. He does lose the Fallen Library off one of his broken provinces, but he then
Gets
gets
another
another
one.
Fallen Library on an unbroken province. I hate those libraries, man.
They're the best holding in the game, really. Well,
Yeah, they're
they're the best
stupid.
card draw holding in the game. Compare it to Funeral Pyre, and then you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Funeral
So
Pyre would be great if like loads of other different sacrifice mechanics didn't exist. You know
yeah,
what I mean? If it was the only sacrifice mechanic, it'd be a great card. But because, you know, what's he saying? You having two cards in hand is nice.
yeah, because the two calling in favors are dead, and the assassination is dead.
Right,
So
I see.
I have a court games and an ornate fan in my hand right now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So
And
he's
he's
got 7 useful cards, and you've got 2.
so he's broken one province. I've broken three of his provinces, but it's 3 honor to 2 honor. And I've noticed this with Scorpion Splash is that it gets into honor trouble really fast.
Yeah, man. I think. Well, I've noticed the same with Crane Splash. I actually just think any deck that doesn't run Spyglass gets into honor trouble real fast.
Yeah.
Especially when you're coming from a background of like running exclusively deck through Spyglass. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to learn how to bid.
I know. This whole bidding thing is hard, man.
Anyway, sorry, mate. Carry on.
All right, so he's in the draw phase and he's thinking about something. I don't really know what,
Think
but
about like what his favorite shape is, or something abstract like that.
yeah. So he uses a Master Guichet Toshi to prevent non-spell events from being played while the Earth Ring is contested. Not sure exactly why, but
Well, that's terrifying for you, mate. You're not going to be able to play that court game.
exactly. Now the problem is that I don't know what's under his stronghold. It could be entrenched or it could be
Rally. I know
rally.
he's got a long river.
No,
He's got a long river.
yeah, he's got it along the River Gold. So it's either entrenched or ancestral. You'd think that it's entrenched position, but you can never be sure because sometimes
Yeah.
people just run ancestral just because the meta right now is Scorpion heavy, and you just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, yeah. Ancestral's super powerful as well because if they are trying to break politically, there's not really as many buffs you can sort of throw in to up your political strength. Whereas, military conflicts have bonsai.
Yeah,
So yeah, Ancestral on the Fortress is a really sturdy choice for many decks, really.
yeah. So now, if I just go back to last round, if I had bought that Vanguard Warrior last round, I would still have that Heated Guardian with the Watch Commander when he has 2 honor left, and that Vanguard Warrior would have been something else this round. That it would have flipped something else. So
Yeah.
I think that it was pretty obvious there that was a huge mistake not to buy that Vanguard Warrior. When
I
you
wouldn't say
have
it was a huge mistake, but you've definitely made the game a lot more difficult for yourself when you didn't need to.
yeah.
Yeah, a huge mistake is not like huge mistake is like a game losing mistake. I don't think that's a game losing mistake.
Yeah. So he does a big political void into defend the wall, and it's not really something I can competently protect. But I do know he has 6 Fate, and I know that he's running Scorpion Splash, so I have a suspicion that he has a Fate Worse than Death in his hand. And that was kind of the defining thing for this round, is I didn't want to put in like Shuichi or the Witch Hunter because I did not want them to get Fate Worse than Death back home.
No, and you also want to use that covert on Shuichi.
Yeah, exactly. So he's leaving one guy standing too. So I know I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I know I didn't want to do that.
Definitely the right call there. And even if Shuichi does get Fate Worse than Death after covert, he's sort of done half his job already, hasn't he?
Yeah. So I defend,
Good.
and I just use Stronghold to make him use something to break. I was kind of hoping like maybe he'll Fate Worse than Death the Vanguard Warrior. Like, wouldn't that be nice? But
Yeah, maybe he's that caliber of player, like tickler.
So he just passes. He's content with the win, and he gets to honor or dishonor somebody. And he dishonors the Kaio Envoy, which is a very shrewd move.
That's a
Because,
shrewd play. I like that because you have to sacrifice that one, right?
yeah, so if I sacrifice it, I go to 2 honor, which is not fantastic. So,
I feel like he's counting on you committing everything to this conflict, defending it, and then beating you on unopposed
yeah.
and area. I feel like that's his out here, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying. That's what he's trying to do. So I can't use the Kaio Envoy right now. Not that I really even wanted to right now, because the only thing I could stand is a Vanguard Warrior, which is not high impact at all. So, like I said, I know that he has. I have a strong suspicion that he has a Fate Worse than Death in his hand. And I know that I don't know what's under his stronghold. So that's what's dictating this decision right here. Is what can I do to break his stronghold if it's entrenched, and what can I do to break if it's ancestral?
Yeah, man, you're actually in a game losing position here, Jay. I don't know if you've noticed because if he does a fate worse than Death the Witch Hunter and you go all in, you can't then stand someone with the Witch Hunter.
So
So
hold on, yeah, keep going. I just wanted to pause it. Keep going.
no, well, yeah. If you misplay this, you've essentially set him up for a game-winning conflict after this, basically.
Yeah,
Assuming you don't go air. If you go air here, it's less bad. But if you're going earth though, so yeah, you're actually setting yourself up potentially to lose based on your decisions. We'll see what happens though. Hey.
yeah. So I'm looking at political Earth now. The reason I did this is to get an idea of what he could do to stop me. Like what cards could he play that would end up ruining my day, and how can I get around what he's doing? So I choose Earth just because it's 2 Fate. I get a Keeper Monk. Uh, you know, I get the 2 Fate and the Keeper Monk, and it's nice to get an extra card as well.
And you've got the
Especially
same
since, as you pointed out, I have 2 useful cards in my hand. So I initiate a political Earth, and I end up just sending Shuichi.
I think that's the right play here.
And I covert his Master Gishe Toshi.
You don't want to be running a race and then trip at the end, eh?
Yeah. And it is in transposition, so it's a 7 strength province, and I have a court games and a fan in my hand, so that's +4. Now, at the time I was thinking, oh, he's just gonna Fate Worse than Death me home anyway, so I may as well get it going. But then I realized that he Master Gisei Toshi'd the Earth Ring. So he cannot Fate Worse than Death me here. And that was probably the most painful discovery, because like, look at me, I'm trying to click the court games. And I'm like, why isn't it going? Why isn't it letting me court games? And that's when I realized that and then that's when I realized my mistake. It was an Earth Ring. I could have.
Because you didn't fan up Shuichi.
Well, I can play the fan, but it doesn't matter because I need to get to 7 to break. So.
Hey, Howler.
I know. So I just take the win.
If only you said no, he displays power as well.
He displayed powers me. I know. It's brutal. So I lost the assassination, which didn't really matter because I couldn't play it anyway. But it actually made me, like we were talking, like if I did air, then I could possibly have won if he did not play any conflict characters into the conflict or anything like that. But, he had display of power, so if I had done that, he would have gone up to 3.
Yeah, true. And
he would have gone up to 3 honor instead of gone down to 1 honor. So it actually worked out relatively in my favor that I didn't do air and I went earth. It sucks that he gets to draw a card now and I got to discard a card, especially since that means I don't get my keeper either.
That's a high risk play from him there, though, because he banked on you going earth, right? Because it had the fate on.
Yeah.
like he could have lost the game that turn if you realised that the Gisatoshi Master stopped a fate worse than death being an option for him.
Yeah,
You just send the Guardian and a fanned up what's his name Shuichi into that, and you win the game, right?
yeah, pretty much. So I would have won there. Granted, he has, I think he has one more Meek Form in his hand. I'm not positive, but I think he did. So he could have
Too, actually, yeah, you could just slid one in there.
he could have opposed it, but it was a very demoralizing moment for me at the time. It was like, oh, why did I do this stupid fucking thing? So anyway, that was a mistake. You know, I knew that was a mistake. Why did I do that nonsense? But anyway, that's just what happened. This was what we did. That's how we did it, and that's that sucks. So I'm still agonizing over how stupid that was.
Yeah, you're just kicking yourself in the fucking face there, aren't you?
Yep.
I know that feel.
You know that feel, bro?
I do, and he's reveling in it there. It's
Yeah.
like
Self-deprecation is the best. So there's an action window, and I do just discard the Kaio Envoy to stand Shuichi. I think it's the right play, because that gives me an option to either defend really hard to prevent anything that he's trying to do, or in this case, I could potentially, attack with him. So
you got a fantastic draw there. That's a sick top draw to get.
yeah, a mountain. Oh, it's fantastic. It was basically exactly. And here, look at this. So he does a military air for 2, and oh man, I was like, and he did it to defend the wall. So I was like, oh, he just made a game-ending mistake, right? Like, I'm just going to defend the shit out of this. Mountain does not fall my Kaio Shuichi. He doesn't have censure because I have the favor, so he cannot cancel Mountain does not fall, right? So like, I can Mountain does not fall my guy, and basically win essentially.
Yeah.
Because then and that's when I realized, like, oh, I'll just defend with everybody. Like, this is perfect. So
I would have defended with everyone. There's absolutely no reason not to there.
yeah. So let's see here. I just pass because I'm like, unless he does something, I just win the game. So let's wait for him to do something. And by the way, another thing, if I had that Heated Guardian, the game's over anyway because he can't do this. That's the thing that is still agonizing about this, is that if I had just bought that Vanguard Warrior, Heated Guardian with the Watch Commanders here, and he's stopping him from even interacting with me.
Yeah, that's true. You can't do jack shit on 1 honor with Watch Commander about.
Nope. So I defend. It's 2-8, and he says, "Could you have drawn an out?" Which is weird to me because I was like, "Dude, you needed to draw an out." Like, I didn't need to draw an out. You needed to draw an out. So
he suddenly shits himself.
So he's thinking. I'm sorry.
Is that the second copy of Watch Commander he's thinking? I reckon.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
The second copy of Watch Commander just wins you the game here, I think.
Yeah, I have 3 in this deck, so it's very interesting that I haven't drawn a second one yet. So that was unfortunate. But he Fate Worse Than Deaths my Witch Hunter home, which is fine. I expected him to do that. And then I Mountain my Shuichi, and he plays a Forged Edict. It's like, oh, how many cancels does this guy have? You know what I mean? Like, God, that's annoying. And then he bonsais this guy, so it's now 4-4. So, he was saying, did he draw an out? Because he had all this math planned out, where he was like, I'm going to Fate that guy home, I'm going to bonsai, I'm going to, whatever, do all this stuff to stop him from winning this conflict. So now he's winning 4-4. And at this point, it's annoying because I took the favor in political, because that's just what I tend to do. But there's always scenarios like this where you kind of wish you had it in military, and it's the favor can be tricky like that.
I think if you're running Yojimbos in this list, you actually probably want to lean more towards taking it military, because they become a break on their own for 4-strength provinces when you have military favor,
Yeah. So he said that's game. Psych. Because he thought that I was going to lose an honor here, and then the Witch Hunter would go, and I'd go to 0. But he forgot about the Vanguard Warrior.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie. So he wins, but he doesn't break, and now it is 1 honor to his 2 honor.
God, this is tense. But he's got 1 turn to get 2 characters honored
Yeah.
somehow.
And now if that mountain had just gone through, a fire ring wins it here. But because he had the forged edict for the mountain, we go to another round.
Look at him, the smile on his face disintegrating. Realizing the game is not, in fact, over.
It's not quite over yet. And so
this is tense, man.
What?
I said it's a good game. This is tense, man.
I know, right?
Okay, so now your mistake with the Vanguard Warrior and letting Watch Commander Leave play is escalating from a small mistake to a potentially game-losing.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going on right now.
Severity.
So I flip. So here's the thing. Look at this flip. So I flipped two Steadfast Witch Hunters and a Shrewd Yasuki, and he flipped 2 more holdings and Satoshi. So
yeah, that's a game-losing flip, really, isn't it?
So I just end up just buying out all my guys with no fate, so that I had a little bit of fate left over to play around with.
You know what I mean? The game ends one way or another. The game ends this turn.
Yeah,
you know?
Pretty much. We both bid 1, obviously, and I draw a Haruma Skirmisher, which is just, I mean, it's wonderful in this scenario.
It's great. Covert a dude. You got a bunch of like dudes that endlessly stand each other.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Now he did hold 4 fate, so I was like, is he running a 3rd fate worse than death in his deck? But I didn't count up his influence already in the discard pile. He has 2 fates, which is 6, a forged edict, which is 8. Then two meek informants, that's 10. So he had 3 if he's only running 1 forged edict, but chances are he's running 2. So
yeah,
there's probably no realistic reason for me to think that he had a fate worse than death based on what he's played. But there's always the option that he decided to go 3 fate worse than death, 1 forged edict.
Yeah, he could, man. If he's running 3 censure, 3 censures and 1 forged edict is fine.
Yeah.
It's like it's 3 cancels that you can probably usually rely on in Phoenix, and then 1 which you can definitely rely on but has a definite disadvantage in Phoenix.
Yeah. So now it's math time. He's got all these big He's got all these big characters with a bunch of political strength, and I have all these characters with a bunch of military strength. But he has entrenched position, so it's really difficult to decide which one I should go with. But I play the Haruma Skirmisher because my intention is to do military and see if I can break that way. And I just do a quick count up to see what I have, and then the only decision left is which ring to use. And I go with air. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the right call there. At least that way you don't lose if you if you fail.
Yeah.
You don't break the surprised that you decide because you've got air and her thing's air, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Isn't it great that no one plays Kuari Mori?
It's so nice, isn't it? Like, damn, it's so nice.
If this here was Kuari Mori, you'd be like, well,
yeah, I'll flip it.
Absolutely, nothing I can do to win this.
Yeah. So I stealth those 2 so he can defend with Satoshi and a 0/1 that can dishonor and stuff like that or whatever.
He's got favorable ground.
Yeah, he's got 2 favorable grounds, so he could potentially just full out defend this if he actively needed to. Which, it sucks that he flipped those when he needed characters, but they're going to be helpful here because of the covert that I have. He says, "Oh boy."
Okay, does he have the means? He's got the favor back as well.
Yeah, he's got the favor back. So he probably has a censure, a good chance. But luckily, I don't really have any events that I care about because of these stupid calling in favors.
He's stupid, completely useless in every way, calling in favors.
Yep.
I don't really see how he wins the game this turn. Like, even if you don't win on the strongholds, once you take the airing off, he needs to win fire, and I don't think he can here, looking at his boards and your board.
Yeah. So I'm at 17-5, and I do the Shuryasuki, and I see a Haruma Skirmisher and a Jade Tetsubo. I couldn't afford the Jade Tetsubo, but I have Shuichi who can give me a Fate, so I can exactly afford the Jade Tetsubo now.
Nice.
And then he plays a Meek Informant to see what I just drew. And he's like, no way. No fucking way.
Yeah, way. Tetsubo him right in the face.
Exactly. That's the idea. Now, he doesn't have any guys with Fate on him, so it doesn't really matter, but it's +3 military strength. I was like, this puts me over the edge. Like, there's no way that he can stop this.
No. And that Tetsubo is going to be in more than one conflict this round, thanks to those witch hunters.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive, eh?
What a time to be alive, indeed. So I'm at +12, so I am breaking, and he goes into another one of his think sessions. He obviously he's very good at playing out the entire round in his head, especially when you have perfect knowledge, right? I mean, that is one thing I will say about the Meek Informants and the policy debates, is that they basically let you plan an entire turn. If you're a good player, you can plan an entire round, and theoretically you could guarantee victory if it's possible, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's the strongest part of those cards. Like I was really down on policy debate for a while, but then, I think Mind's Desire pointed something out, and I sort of was like, oh yeah, you need to have it in multiple rounds successively for it to be like really broken. Because once you draw new cards, it is essentially outdated knowledge at that point, especially if you draw a lot of cards.
Yeah. But the nice thing about this deck is that it pressures you in honor so hard that a lot of times you're only drawing 1, maybe 2 cards around, and then that information actually lasts a lot longer.
Yeah, man. How many policy debates are you running in this?
Oh, 3. All 3.
All 3, eh?
There's no reason not to, really. You can always find a target.
You got Satoshi in here as well?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Satoshi, 3 ornate fans, 3 court games. Calling in favors to steal their fans potentially.
Man, this meta is so courtier, isn't it? Everything's based around political challenges and getting cool courtier stuff out, and
it is. So he plays a Force Shame. And so I have a decision: do I dishonor my character or do I bow him? I really don't want to dishonor him because I'm at 1 honor, so anything going wrong can really fuck me up. And if I really need to, I can bow. I can straighten him.
Yeah.
By sacrificing a character. So, I decide to just to bow him. I think that's what I do. Because the Jade Tetsubo puts me back over on top as well. So I'm now winning 14-5, but the Jade Tetsubo took me back to 17-5, breaking again. So I am still breaking. And the favor here is killing me because I'm right on the brink of breaking. Like I'm at the literal maximum point at which I'm still breaking. Yeah, it's an eek right now. So if I had the favor, then I'd be breaking by 1, and then that would become less of an issue.
So he needs to favorable ground in that Mystic, and he needs to... Well, he needs at least 1 buff, right? I think a Katana... Oh, brutal.
And then, once again, Against the Waves is just brutal against the Witch Hunter. It's just... Ooh, it is just awful. So... Here, I make a snap decision. I'm like, hey, fuck it. I'm just going to stand him with the skirmisher. Just get my +6 back, right? But the issue is, Like this is the realization, and this is, I'll credit care mode here because he thinks about everything and it really draws out the game. I don't really do that. I just kind of make snap decisions based on my instincts. And my instincts said, fucking stand your guy up, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
like clearly, you stand your dude. That's what you do in that scenario. But because I was right on the brink of breaking, I was at 12, exactly 12. By standing him, I get back to 16, but then I sacrificed one strength. So now I'm not breaking anymore. So my options here were, he has 3 cards left in his hand. My worst case scenario, the thing that I was terrified of, was, let's say I sacrifice the courtier, the Shuryusuki, to stand Shuichi. That
Yeah,
puts me at 18 because I gain 3 strength, lose 1 strength, right?
yeah,
That puts me at 18. If he has a Cloud the Mind for my third Witch Hunter, I now have no characters standing
okay,
for his attacks, and he can just do 2 unopposed and just break me out, right?
right.
So I made a big mistake standing that guy because it did no good for me. It wasted one of my stands, and it also, like, I'm still in the exact same position I am now. Is that I was
Yeah,
winning, not breaking.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
just did that because, on the surface I was like, duh, this is what you do. And I'm gonna, let's see here. I think about this for a good amount of time.
So he's essentially sort of knee jerk tilted you a bit there.
Yeah, he knee jerk tilted me a little bit with that against the waves, and it was his third against the waves, I think. Um, so you know,
I mean, like, arguably, what the correct play there was not putting the Tetsubo on the Witch Hunter and actually putting it on Shuichi and standing him back up with the Witch Hunter trigger, right? Because then at least that way he needs to have another for shame to bow for Shuichi
yeah,
or something, you know.
and it didn't help that I did not see a single policy debate this round, and I only saw one meek informant. So really, I didn't have any information on his hand. You know, and obviously he defended in a way such that I could not policy debate him even if I had it, even though he knew it was in my hand, because he could have just defended with that 0-1 as well, just to help, I suppose, but it just didn't matter. So I win, and I take an honor from him. I think maybe I should have just gained 2 honor. Maybe.
I would have gained 2 here. There's no need to take the 1. You gain 2, and at least that way he needs to get 2 unopposed conflicts and have your Witch Hunter leave play, which you can stop with the Iron Mines.
Yeah, and here I am thinking about it, and I end up going with the +2 honor.
Yeah, that's 100% the right call. He needs to figure out a way to stop both his Dishonored guys leaving play this turn.
Yeah.
Um,
So he has the fire ring at his disposal, and he has this diplomat at his disposal, and he knows exactly what's in my hand. So he has 3 cards, which I have no idea what they are. If I went up to the first round and looked at his hand, maybe there is 1 or 2 cards remaining from my knowledge, but there's nothing that I actually know. And I choose to stand my Witch Hunter. Because he has the military strength, so that would kind of force him to do political. Not that he was considering doing military anyway, but just in case he did, I wanted to have my best military guy standing.
you still got 1 more Witch Hunter trigger, right?
Yeah, I have 1 more Witch Hunter trigger. And again, I would have had 2 here if I had not wasted 1 during the conflict.
Yeah, so you've kind of got to.
I dug myself a hole.
Now, yeah, you've dug yourself a bit of a hole. Yeah. So you got up his sleeve, eh?
Yeah. He's saying I expected a 3rd trigger. And I said, if you have an answer and a cloud for the 3rd, then I'm fucked, basically.
But I'm not. If you use the 3rd Witch Hunter now, right?
Yeah.
How is that worse than saving that trigger?
It's probably not. Honestly, it's probably not. It's probably not a bad play.
You just stand Suichi, right? And then you've got your 2 defenders for the turn.
Yeah.
1 for military, 1 for political.
Yeah. Maybe it was the right call. I'm not sure. I don't know if the game would have ended differently if I had done that.
I'm excited to see how this ends, Jay, because I mean, you certainly haven't made it easy for yourself. Oh man, it's so easy though to like sit here and just watch someone else's game and be like, oh no, that was the wrong thing to do. No, that's like, but when you're playing the game, man,
It
you
can
just misplay the part of it. You do things at the time and then spur of the moment, you make a decision, just think, fucking hell, why did I do that after?
Yeah. So he's contesting water here, and obviously I have to defend this because he would just bow that guy if I don't. So I do defend with my 2 strength, and I think I immediately just court games him to dishonor his 3rd character, just to kind of make it so like he basically cannot get out of this in any way.
Yeah, he's fucked. He's got it. Like I can't see. I think his last chance to win the game. Oh shit! What's he doing? Oh, he's milling for keepers. Clever boy.
And he does see one. I think he sees 2, so he's getting all 3 keepers now.
Never see keeper initiatives.
Right? Every time I do Mia Satoshi, it goes like too deep, and then there's like no keepers in it. He does it one time and he gets both of his keepers.
Mine always discards like 16 cards or something ridiculous, but it never ever puts keepers in it. It just discards all the stuff.
Or you mill looking for Karate District, and then you find some nothing, and then you replace a face down card, and the face down card was Karate District.
Exactly. That same thing exactly is what happens in my game versus Romantic. It was probably the moment that my heart broke in that game.
Yeah, with no rebuilds. Oof.
No rebuilds, none coming either.
Yeah. So he's winning this, but not breaking it, right?
How does he stop losing the game at the end of this turn, though? The way I see your path to victory at this point is you just stand Shuichi and block the next challenge.
Well, let's see here. He dishonors the Witch Hunter. So when those 2 Witch Hunters leave, I go down to 1. I go down to 1 honor, or 1 honor left. And
you first player as well. Oh, I see. So he's going to go firing as his last thing, right?
Yeah. So here's another decision point. Is like he has 3 cards in his hand, right? And I don't know what they are. I could do a fire ring here.
Yeah.
But that really doesn't help me because unless I break, he's going to win at the end of the round because I'm fucking first player. Like, first player is dumb. It is dumb what first player is. You know what I mean? Like, it's so irritating that first player is such a disadvantage in this game because if, like, say I do a fire ring and I honor one of these dishonored guys, right? He can do something and then an unopposed, and then if he can get 1 more dishonor off on me, and then a dishonored character goes away in the fate phase that drops me to 0, I lose before he loses.
Because he can't. So basically, though, now if you defend this conflict, he also loses because he can't. He needs to win this firing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So he needs to win the firing, and he's got military. He's got 5 military, right?
So he can win that.
So maybe I shouldn't have maybe I shouldn't have stood Shuichi. Maybe I should have stood that Witch Hunter again. You know?
No, because if he has to last against the waves and you lose that Iron Mine, you lose the game.
Yeah. Yeah, if I lose the Iron Mine, then I lose the game. And that was my logic, is that I stand someone who can't be against the waves. But that's a really annoying thing to have to consider during the game when it's like, man, like, I wish it didn't bow Shugenja. I wish it just stood Shugenja. So I stood Shuichi because I didn't want him to get against the waves. And I was considering maybe I could attack. Because, like, if I do a...
Is that the third against the waves there?
I'm sorry?
Is that the third one in his discards? Because he had 2 earlier in the game, didn't he?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I can't look back and everything. And then I say shit. Like, this was just a series of each of us messing up. Winning. So now I have to decide, like, if I attack and he's got some answer, I'm screwed. Like, what if he has a court games, and then he can do a void ring, and then all three of my guys go away at the end of the phase, and they're all dishonored, right?
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things going on that I just was really struggling to make a determination about what I needed to do here.
Sure.
And him getting 3 keepers was also not fantastic.
So he's got 3 dishonored guys, so firing doesn't save him here. So you just need to defend, right?
Yeah. So that's why I passed my conflict. I didn't want to give him an opportunity to honor one of his guys. Like, say I attack politically and he has a court games, and he honors Satoshi, and Satoshi leaves at the same time as those 3 guys, and then, you know...
Display of power as well, if you go firing there, you know?
Yeah, you just never know what's in his hand. I had no information on what he had, so I couldn't...
And then he swings back with voids, then you lose. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it was a bunch of losing decisions that I had.
No, you made the right decision there. There's only one decision to make at this point. He's got 3 dishonored guys leaving play, and only one way to get one of those dishonor tokens out. You just need to last to the end of the round. So you ready your character that can't be bowed in any way, shape, or form, and you just defend.
Yeah.
And at the end of the round, you lose 2 honor, and he loses 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even matter if he breaks the defend the wall now and you lose the iron mines. None of that matters. You just need to get to the end of the round. He can't take an honor from you, you know?
Yeah.
And even your opponent is like, oh, I've messed up here, you know?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, right, that's the most fucking empty gesture of a sentence ever, isn't it?
No, I actually, at that point, I was feeling really, at this stage of the game, I was like convinced I was going to lose, because the amount of time he thinks about things, I was like, he has like the entire game mapped out in his head. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not that player. So the fact that he still has a conflict left.
I think that knowledge of his playstyle though is kind of like tilting you a little bit there, because you're like, oh, well, what if he knows everything? You know, you can overthink these things, man. You know, you can sit there mapping out a turn in your head, and because you've thought about things so much, you know, maybe you'll miss like one tiny detail, and you're like, oh my god, and the rest of it just comes crashing down, and you can completely mess up turns like with that approach to playing. You know,
Yeah.
pretty easier said than done.
Yeah. So here we go. He's doing a fire for 6, and I defend with Shuichi. And I just pass, because he's not breaking, he's not doing anything that would stop me from losing the game.
No. One of those last 3 cards.
And then what he did here is, this was really clever. He used his second favorable grounds to move in that girl that takes fate off people that nobody runs. And this is the thing. It's like, if I had that character in Crab, I would run her forever, right? Like, removing fate from characters is insane. So, you know, he does that. And, you know, she's bowed, luckily, so she doesn't add to the conflict. So he's still not breaking. And then he uses his stronghold to give her +2 glory, so that he's now 3 glory to Shuichi's 2, and then discards the fate on him. So now, a fire ring on Shuichi, if he can break this province, loses me the game.
Yeah, okay, now you're fucked. But he needs to break the province.
He needs to break the province.
He needs a banzai for the game now, basically.
Yeah, a bonsai wins the game right here. But he doesn't have it.
Oh my god! Oh man, that is so close.
And he dishonors Shuichi, right? So I pass.
That is not enough. Very clever plays from your opponent there.
Yeah, and then I use the Iron Mine to save Shuichi to end on 1 honor, and then his 3 dishonor characters go away, and he goes down to 0 honor.
Amazing. That was a spicy game.
I know, right? So
you actually absolutely correct in not doing that attack, because had you done that political, he dishonors Shuichi and then you lose on his turn.
Yeah, because he had a court games in his hand, so not attacking with Shuichi was the right call. It felt bad at the time not to do it, but I ended up doing it. I think another thing was, you know, I think I think that he used all three of us against the waves, so I really should have stood the witch hunter with the.
Well.
I should have stood the witch hunter with the card
The
instead.
tattoo.
Yeah, the Tetsubo
Right.
instead. That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
Because then I'd have
Yeah.
+7 strength defending, and then he wouldn't even have won the fire ring anyway. So it wouldn't even
So
have that
the
threat.
card 20, yeah, card 20 in his discard was against the waves, and you discarded one early, and he played one pretty early on in the game. So I think you'd seen all three at that point.
Yeah, I think I did as well. But you know, at this point, like you said, I think I was kind of tilting myself, just thinking that he knew everything, and he knew
Yeah.
exactly what he needed to do, because he had full knowledge of my hand.
Classic Phoenix, isn't it? Classic Phoenix, knowing the world, knowing everything, and
Yeah,
then not being able to win anything.
you know everything, and yet you still lose. So yeah, that was by far my closest game. Um, I did not think that he ran Forged Edict, so I don't know if he had the Forged Edict at the time that I had that second Fate Worse than Death.
Right.
Um, maybe I could have used that Fate Worse than Death and it would have gone through, or maybe it would have gotten canceled. I'm not sure, but either way, having it policy debated out of my hand was brutal because that completely changed the way that I played the entire game. Because say I do end up just Fate Worse than Deathing the Master Gisei Toshi, I dishonor him right there because he had like 3 honor left. That character's leaving play. It's an unopposed, and I think it was an error ring. So it was all like boom, boom, boom. They're all going away for the dishonor. But because of the policy debate, he was able to discard it. You there? Oh, bro. You
Hello.
there? Hey,
There you go. Oh, hello.
hey.
There you go now.
There you
Yeah, it's really laggy, man. Hello. I can see you fine. Say something.
Something. Anything?
Yeah, the audio's all fucked. Just say hello. My name's Joe.
Hello, my name is Joe.
Okay, we're back on. Yeah, sweet.
All right.
There
So,
we go.
so that was the end of that game, and it was by far the closest game that I'd played in the Discord League pod season. Winning,
Yeah.
it's funny because I won with 1 honor left, and my top 32 game I lost with him having 1 honor left. So it was kind of like I played these games right after each other, and it was really nice to be on the winning side of that nonsense after I lost
Yeah.
from the top 32.
That's a game you won at the finish line there. Like that turn could have gone either way. And I had one of my league pod games I just played, which was versus a women player. I won that at the stronghold as well in a similar way. Like either player had an opportunity to win the game on that. Just it swung away. Those are the best games, man. But
Oh.
like all my friends,
You snatch victory from the claws of defeat.
That's it, man. Or vice versa. Even when you lose those games, you're like, oh no, it can be so heartbreaking. But at least you're like, well, it was going to go either way. It could have gone either.
Well, my top 32 game against Scorpion was just like that was a very heartbreaking thing to lose because my entire plan was dishonoring him, and his stronghold just kept him in the game for 1 round too long. And I think it went 6 rounds because it was like a 2-hour game. It was a slugfest of a game. And it went 6 rounds. His stronghold got him 6 honor, and took 6 honor from me, right? So it's just like his stronghold was worth 12 honor in that game, which is just insane. So,
Yeah, that's like this. That's like having 2 strongholds.
Yeah.
That's not even. Like if you had 2 crab strongholds, you still wouldn't get 22 on it.
So, but I don't want to dwell on that game. That game's over. This is the game that I'm focusing on for this video, and onwards and upwards, right?
That's it, bro. That's it. Don't live in the past.
So that was game 1. I'm not sure if we're going to do game 2, but we'll figure that out after I stop recording. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. And I'll post Dan's YouTube channel in the description, so you can watch him play. Right now he has 4 games or 3 games?
I've got 3 up and a 4th on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4th on the way. Should be up either tomorrow or later today.
And he's running Crab Splash Crane, so he's also doing a special thing there. not Unicorn Splash, because we're kind of me and our we got a little playtest group going on, and all of us are basically off Unicorn Splash because it's not working right now. So he's testing Crane, I'm testing Scorpion, and we got some other people testing both of those as well. So hopefully we can win another Kotai in the near future with these new strategies.
With this hard effort, these great minds work in symbiosis, bring the most efficient crab deck into being.
Egotistical. So, Dan, thanks for joining me, and
Pleasure.
we'll see what's going on next. Thanks for watching.